A new army of the dead shall rise at my command.
What is going on, my fellow nerds? Abrasive Otter here with a guide on the Rathma Necromancer used in the new meta for AXP runs being the sub 3 minute Rift 94s or higher. Now today we're going to be doing something a bit different. I will not be covering the actual build used for the runs, as most people already know what it is. But just in case you don't, there is a link in the description below to a D3 planner page I have set up that illustrates the full build for you guys. So instead, what I'll be covering today is the actual execution of the build. The gear is not the most important aspect of this amazing build. Rather, it's the execution of its gameplay. So today, I will be going over the 5 things that every Rathma Necro needs to know to execute the build properly and achieve the 1 trillion XP per hour or higher if you're able to do it. But before we get into it, I want to give a big shout out to Reaper Minho for teaching me all the mechanics to this build. She is by far the most talented Rathma Necro I've ever met and had amazing patience to teach me the mechanics of the build. So without her, this video wouldn't even be possible, so credit where credit is due. Simulacrum is the most powerful ability you have in this build. Understanding exactly what it's doing and how it synergizes with your setup will definitely help you out with setting yourself up to do the maximum damage. Simulacrum states that you create a mirror image that will duplicate your secondary skills, mixed with the rune Reservoir, and let's see how this creates a ridiculous power spike. Relana's Shadowhook states that every point of essence increases your damage by 0.5%, and then blah blah, the rest we don't care about. With Simulacrum doubling our essence pool, we now double our damage because we doubled the effect of Relana's. Skeletal Mage states that every point of essence consumed increases the minion's damage by 3%. Since we double our essence pool with Simulacrum, we double the damage dealt by our mages as well. This is a double dip of damage increase. We not only get the double damage from Relana's, but we get the double damage on our mages as well. That comes out to a quadruple damage gain, or the equivalent of a power pylon. But wait, there's more. With Julian's Love as our ring, we cast an extra mage. With Simulacrum, it duplicates our secondary skills, and it synergizes with Julian's Love, meaning we cast 4 mages instead of 2. This is sort of another double damage boost. When running sub 3 minute runs, your goal is to literally insta-explode the elite pack. A basic mechanic I'm sure all of you know by this point is that you can aim your mages by hovering over the target and casting them, making them attack the target until it's dead or they're dead. If we normal cast, we set up 2 mages to attack that target, but with Simulacrum we cast 4. Since we're casting twice as many mages onto the target, you can make the argument that on cast we deal double damage to a single target with Simulacrum active versus when it's not active. So versus a single target on cast, we can say that we deal 8 times more damage, which is just absolutely bonkers. To utilize this skill as best we can, we want it up as often as possible. Running CDR on our weapon, phylactery, gloves, shoulder, helm, and paragon is going to allow us to have the perfect mixture of CDR and sheet damage needed to shred the rift. When mixed with our Decrepify curse, which increases our CDR by 1% for every enemy hit up to a maximum of 20%, we can get Simulacrum on a 56-second cooldown. With Haunted Visions allowing our Simulacrum to last for 30 seconds, this means we can have our Simulacrum up for more than half the rift if it's played properly. Just remember that when you are setting up your curses on enemies, don't try to get 20 enemies and cast Simulacrum, alright? Take the extra 1 to 2 seconds to cast where you see density, but then cast Simulacrum, alright? Don't try to be stingy and achieve the perfect cast. It's going to slow down your run. You need to kill the elites as fast as humanly possible. That is the purpose of Simulacrum, and that is how it scales with your build. Next rule is setting your Devour on a macro function. The reason you do this is because it makes your life 10 times easier. Trying to permacast Devour to keep your HP inflated while casting Decrepify on different targets, casting your mages on the right targets, teleporting to the correct location, keeping your bone armor up, and watching for every single elite affix and mob attack is just way too much to handle for a lengthy period of time. Make your life easy. Use your keyboard software to set your Devour on continuous playback function so that it's permanently spamming it while you're going through the rift. You can also use the numpad lock trick as well. I'll leave a link in the description below for that guide by good old Quinn69. Rule 3 is curse everything in sight. Literally. The reason for this is your passive, Spreading Malediction, which states you get 1% bonus damage for every enemy afflicted by one of your curses. If you don't have max essence and you're waiting for your Z-Necro to pop Land of the Dead for globes, spend that time cursing something. If you have just a sliver of a moment, curse. When you're moving from spot to spot, curse. Long story short, curse everything if you have the moment to do so. Damage reduction, damage amplification, and cooldown reduction are just way too good to pass up. Treat it like the holy grail of your build. Important to note though, if two necromancers are running the same curse, that is, two of you are running Decrepify, they will override each other. That means if we have a group of 10 enemies and you curse it and you get the benefits from it, and then your sidekick buddy comes in and decides to curse the same group, his curp application overrides yours, and therefore you get no benefit from your cast, but he gets the benefit from the cast. That's why if you're running 3 Necros, having each of you run a different curse, so one runs Decrepify, one runs Frailty, and one runs Leech, is pretty beneficial if you're kind of new to the build. But if you have 2 Rathmas that know exactly how to handle this little hiccup, both of you running Decrepify is still the best option in my personal opinion. Oy vey. This one is a hard one to do if you're a new player. I'm by no means pro, but I consider myself to not be pleb status, and this rule had to be the hardest one to grasp. Oculus Rings are an amazing damage amplifier. Oculus Rings state that when a target is killed, there's a chance that this little ring will appear with these golden flashiness that looks just oh so good to stand in and gives you near double damage. While Oculus Rings are amazing, you have to understand they are situation dependent. 9 out of 10 times, Oculus Rings will appear next to an elite group, and when standing in one, you're a stationary target for elite affixes and mob attacks. If you have an elite with Arcane and Orbiter affix and the mob is Hell Witches, Dune Stingers, Moon Clan Impalers, Grotesque, or any other mob of sufficient stupidity that I despise, it would probably be wise to keep on the move and not make yourself a target. This build is very squishy, but it's designed to kill an elite in like 4 seconds max. If you stand in an Oculus circle and you kill an elite or density mob in 2 seconds but then die, you have to wait 3 seconds to click res, and then another 5 for gray screen to let you actually do something, and then you have to actually restack all your mages. This is like near 10 to 15 seconds to recover what your previous power was, which means it'll take 12 to 17 seconds to get back to where you were. Or you could play a little more squirrely and take the extra 2 seconds to kill something, but still be buffed and move on. Oculus circles are an amazing tool, guys, don't get me wrong, but they're not worth standing in if it means you have a high chance of dying. Read the situation and act accordingly to what you are presented with. Hey, if you stuck around this line, then you get to hear the most important rule about doing max DPS with this build. I call it forcing your mages into the fight, better known as don't be a fucking pussy. When you first play this build, what you'll notice is that you are squishy, like really squishy. And the natural human reaction to this is to play more passively, right? Don't die and you'll do more damage. Well, yes, but no. Your mages will always be behind you unless you cast them in front of you. When moving from spot to spot, your mages are always going to be trailing that ass. If you watch carefully though, if you blood rush far enough forward, your mages are going to teleport with you and appear right behind you. We're going to use this to benefit us, alright? When you find an elite group, most Rathma Necros will find a safe space and start casting their mages into the elite. Don't do that. Don't be a pussy. When you do that, there's a very high chance that there's some mob in front of the elite and your mages are going to attack those before they start attacking the elite or the density cluster you found. Do you want them to inch their way forward into the cluster, or would you rather put all 10 of them right into the cluster? So instead, what you want to do is when you find an elite or a density cluster, you want to blood rush past it just a little bit. Since your blood mages are always behind you, this is going to put them dead center into the density. Let me illustrate what I'm trying to say a little more clearly using animations. Okay guys, so here's what we got. We got our mages, use some stragglers, and a density cluster. And the whole goal of this is that we want to go from point A to point B and destroy the cluster, right? We want to destroy. The star is the elite, alright? That's what we want to kill. Now we have 2 options of doing this. This is the first option, alright? we can walk our way to the elite group, and like I said, the safe Rathma Necros are the pussies. We can cast the mages individually into the elite cluster, but it's gonna take so much time to get our mages into that fight and do maximum DPS. Watch what happens. When I start this animation, the mages are moving behind me, killing targets. I'm casting mages into the fight. Every 2 casts, 2 less, and we're getting 2 more mages into the fight, and then 2 more mages into the fight, but it's really, really slow. You see how long it takes to actually get all 10 mages into the fight? It's possible, we can do it. Yeah, it's a little more safe, but it's literally it's 3 to 4 times slower. It takes so long. So let's fix this a little bit, right? So here what we're going to do is we're actually going to walk to the elite with our mages trailing behind us, and then we're going to blood rush past the elite group and put them right into the fight. Watch what happens with this animation when this happens, all right? So we're walking forward, I stop, and blood rush right past the elite group. You see how all 10 mages are now in the cluster? That is the secret to this build. That's how you do maximum DPS. Learn it, love it, master it. You do this, that's how you do sub 3-minute runs. So those are the 5 rules you need to know to play the Rathma Necro correctly. Let's recap real quick. Understand that Simulacrum gives you an insane damage boost, and set yourself up to use it properly. Set your Devour on a macro function. Curse everything you can when you're able to do so. Understand that Oculus Rings are situational, and always force your mages into the fight using Blood Rush. If you master these 5 basic mechanics, then running sub 3-minute 94s is going to be a breeze. Once again, I give a shout out to Reaper Minho for all the information that she gave me and that I was able to spread to you guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Abrasive Honor, and as always, take it easy, gentlemen.